Hello, everyone. This is Ron from the DroneNation channel. This is episode number 11. I'm joined by my regular co-host, Marcus Crawford, today. Before we actually get into any of the, I want to take care of a little business right up front. A friend of the channel, Ron Levesque, down there in sunny Florida, he changed his channel name to, let me get my notes up here, Uranus Exploratory Photography. And one of the moderators must have thought that was like a troll or a spam account, and they blocked him. Now, through the help of Bill the Drone Reviewer, I've gone in and unblocked his channel. But please, moderators, do not block Uranus Exploratory Photography. It's Ron Levesque. He's a good guy. He's a good contributor to the show, and he's kind of been a little bit upset that he's been blocked. But I told him we'd take care of it. I forgot the last show, but hopefully we get him fixed tonight. So back to our regularly scheduled programming. We've got a ton of drone news coming off our vacation week or whatever. We took off the holiday, and I'll start the drone news right now. And that was it. It wasn't a big week of news, folks, but we do have a couple things to go over. I'll tease a few things, and then we're going to catch up with Marcus here because he's got some good information on the Feed Me Ups, and he put out a real nice video. And I'm going to tease you before we get. I'm going to tease you a little bit more. We have a special surprise coming up when this show's over. We're going to talk about it later in the show, so don't go anywhere. But we're going to talk about the DJI Rones being delayed, the Hero 9, the DJI Fly app getting updated. We're going to cover Spin Up, and with that, these are all teasers. We're going to talk about them in a few minutes, but I'm going to throw it over to Marcus, and we're going to catch up with what he's been up to lately.
Hey, Ron, are we going to talk about the OM4 at all?
Oh, I forgot the only real piece of news. Was that out before when we did our last show?
No, we just last show we had. I pulled out the Osmo Mobile 3, but we didn't have the 4 yet. And I've had a chance to use it a little bit, as have you. So we can probably talk about that just a tad.
That is a story, and I've been flying my OM4 more than I've been my drones.
So flying your OM4, so that means you take it, you start it up, you throw it, and then you run down the beach and you catch it?
Well, or I kind of run around faking like I have a drone, but it's really just like I'm flying a drone real low.
Oh, yeah. You just put it on an extension rod and hold it up. And yeah. There's an idea.
But we're gonna cover everything you always want to know about the OM4, but we're afraid to ask. But first, let's catch up with what Marcus has been up to.
Hey, I got one piece of business I want to take care of right off the bat, and I want to congratulate Michael Wright. He was one of the big winners at Spin Up. He won the Mavic 2 Pro at Spin Up, and man, that is so awesome, Michael. I well deserved.
Congratulations, Michael. Yes,
and Michael is a guy that is so active in this community, and those are the kind of people that you like to hear that win something like that. And Ridge Flyer just mentioned that I did win a Yeti mug at Spin Up as well. In fact, I won the first drawing that they had at Spin Up, and that was a Yeti mug that they're gonna send to me. So that Yeti stuff is pretty cool.
I want a mug myself.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to enter a contest.
Yep. Hey, Ron, I see Bill Thomas is telling us to give Ron Levesque a wrench, and that way it won't happen to him again. That's a good idea.
Bill Thomas, he's invaluable with his advice here.
Yeah.
I found Uranus Exploratory Photography in here, and it's moving so quick.
It's moving fast, huh?
I think I made him the moderator. Yeah, he is now a moderator. So
now wrenched.
Yeah, now Ren. So Ron, you can change your name to anything now, and you're safe.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Ron. We've missed you. I saw a comment in there already about your parrot Anafi's going. So good to have you back. I hope the weather's treating you right in Florida, though. I've got information that the weather's been a little windy down there in Florida.
Yeah, and let's thank Bill Thomas for that information. That was a good idea, Bill.
Yes, thank you, Bill. And
Yeah.
and speaking of weather conditions, we will have a special guest join us later in the show to give us an updated weather report on Hurricane Sally, which I think right now is hitting the Alabama coastline. But we're going to have an on the site, on the go reporter join us. Top man, a top man coming on here.
Top man.
Top man.
Yeah, there you go.
If you can guess that little homage that Marcus and I just paid to a fellow drone flyer, put in the chat there, and you could possibly win a non-existent DroneNation T-shirt.
Yeah, we don't have T-shirts. We wish we did.
We'll give you that a boy or something.
Yeah. Hey, so what I was going to, we kind of got off track there, but you asked me to talk about what I've been up to. I've been flying. I put out a couple of videos with the FIMI X8 SE and the Xeno 2. And of course, the issues I had with the Xeno 2, I had some problems with FPV on it. Got those sorted out. And at the end of the day, I really think ultimately, even though I replaced the ribbon cable from the main board to the gimbal and the camera, I don't think that was the issue. I think it ultimately was an SD card issue. And I put a SanDisk Extreme Pro in there, writes 90 megabits per second, and the drone has been perfect since. Well, it's hard to say perfect in the Xeno 2 in the same sentence, but the drone has been better. Let's say that. And it actually, when I did, I flew both the FIMI X8 SC 2020 and the Xeno side by side the other day out at Heroes Park. The Xeno just really rocked it, and I had nothing but problems with the FIMI. I had crooked horizon, I had connection issues, I had video issues. But I may have, I'm tentatively believe that I may have solved some of those. I flew the FIMI 2020 today out at Heroes Park, and that's a video that's upcoming. Lots of smoke. The air is so thick here you could cut it with a knife because of all the forest fires. But I flew it, and I left. The big change that I made, instead of using the H.265 codec, I used the H.264, and it seems, I'm not saying that that's it, but I can tell you I looked at the raw footage, and it looked pretty darn good.
This is the FIMI.
The FIMI. Yeah. And Ron, I left the white balance on automatic this time. And of course, on a hazy day, there weren't going to be a lot of lighting changes, right? So It was probably a good time to have it on automatic. And I already looked at it, and it looked pretty darn good. And in fact, Ron, if you want me to, I can probably share a little bit of it here.
There you go. And while you're doing that, I want to comment that the previous video where you put the FIMI in fluorescent mode, when you first did it when you had it in the ground, you first did it, it looked good. But when you had the video full screen, you had up in the air flying, it made like the tops of the roof sort of purple looking or whatever.
It was too cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, like it looked good on the ground, but when you got in the air, it didn't look so good. Like it didn't look a whole lot better than the overly kind of yellowish, orangish brown that
the opposite exactly
put on it. So they definitely have color issues over there at FIMI or this version of the firmware they do. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, and by the way, I will add that I also checked for firmware updates, and there have been none. So this is all with the same firmware. I'm kind of thinking it's related to that H.264 codec, but
hey, I'll make a little joke. If we could get Dr. Frankenstein to come in and operate in the FIMI X8 2020 and the Hudson 2 and combine the best of both worlds, whatever, Dr. Frankenstein may have a pretty good drone.
I think we could do all right. If I could get that nice flat horizon of the Xeno on the FIMI, I'd
and the white balance color of the Hudson on the FIMI.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to ask to share the screen here.
All right. Let's see. Let me hit that big share button here. There we go.
Tell me when you got it. You got it?
We're your big screen now. Oh, look
Okay.
at that! Look at that smoke.
Yeah, that's that.
Your
This.
previous video was very clear when you said the storm blew all the smoke out.
Yeah, yeah, and it's back with a vengeance, and it's only going to get worse here for a while. And it's a little bit of
Props in the shot, Marcus.
Yeah, I was in sport mode, Ron, and I was down to about less than 30% battery, and I was trying to get out here where I'd lost connection before, and you know what? Lost connection again. You'll see it. You'll see it turn around here. Not only did I lose FPV, but I also lost control connection. And I'm about.
You sure they didn't send you Bill the drone reviewers feed me the connection over the lake?
Yeah, I wonder. I was about less than 500 meters away at this point, so that's kind of interesting. Yeah, and then you can really see the haze here. You can't even see the Boise front here, the Boise Mountains, and you'll also notice a crooked horizon there too. Yeah, man, I tell you.
In your previous video, you were straight, but then you made a turn and you got it crooked. You never really got it straightened back out again.
And I was unable to straighten it back out. Yeah, yeah. But at least I'm pleased with the video quality here. I think this looks okay.
Yeah, the colors are better, definitely better than your last video.
No, there's no question about it. They look normal. They look like what your eye would see. So okay, I'm going to stop that right there. Ron, stop sharing.
There's that little sneak peek of that upcoming video there.
Yeah, yeah.
I know we got a lot of Phoebe people out here that bought the X8 whatever that are very interested in this stuff. And let's just throw in maybe not everybody's Phoebe has this trouble that these Phoebes and Hubson too. No two are quite alike.
Well. So you're absolutely right, Ron. Because I look on YouTube and of course in the Facebook groups, people post, and some of the video looks darn good coming off the Phoebe. Now Sam Burns is in the chat, and he was telling me that he shoots in F-Log, and then he in post production brings the colors back out. But
right.
Which is another way to do it. Ron, can I tell you a secret? I got no clue how to do that. No clue.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, basically, just the thing is, when you shoot in a D-Log, it's like in a camera. It's like you're shooting in RAW, so it doesn't bake in a white balance. And then you put any white balance you want in post. If you want it to be sunny, you put sunny in, or he probably even adjusts like a manual Kelvin setting, which of course is what Phoebe could solve this whole issue by just putting in a manual Kelvin thing, like the little Mavic Mini, which is about the same price. You don't have to worry about sunny day and cloudy day. You just put the 56, 58, 6,000 on or whatever, something like that, and you're good to go.
Yeah, see, and that's a great answer. And here's what I do with the Mini, because I'm no expert at Kelvin. So when I put it up in the air, I put it in automatic, and I find out where it finds that Kelvin setting, and then I lock it in manual, and that way I know I have a decent setting, and it always seems to look pretty good. But that's the other thing I wanted to mention, Ron, is the other thing I've been flying that Mini again, and I'm just telling you, that is just a phenomenal piece of equipment. I am so impressed by that little drone. It's so stable. I mean, the difference between that and flying, say, the Xeno, which kind of moves around a little bit, and you're working through all these issues with the Phoebe and with the Xeno. You just don't have them with a drone like that Mini. It just flies. It flies well, and it takes phenomenal video. The other thing that I want to add about it is I was doing some park flying with it. And of course, you want to be very careful that you're never flying over people or over houses. And one of the things that those flight controls allow you to do with that drone is be very precise in your placement. And you can keep it over the green belt and those sorts of things. So anyway.
That's very true. Plus, that you'll never have an issue with the color profile in the Mini. The colors look true.
Just looks good.
No matter no matter whether you're flying towards the sun, away from the sun, it doesn't matter. The colors always look good on the Mini. The camera, it may only be 2.7K, but I'll take that camera in a heartbeat over what Hubson or Phoebe has.
I absolutely agree with you. The only probably, this is a small criticism, Ron, but you've brought it up before and other people have, is the Mini sometimes tends to be a little bit overexposed. So, but that's so easy on that dial. You can just dial it back a little bit. So,
right. And while we're on the Mini here, let's cover the story concerning the DJI Fly update that appeared, I think, just about a week ago. I don't know the number on it. It wasn't a big update, but what it did do is it put an extra little graphic at the bottom of the screen, kind of on the right-hand side, beside your exposure settings, where it tells you the remaining space on the SD card, and also tells you what mode you're in, like 2.7K or something like that. Have you tried it out yet, Marcus?
So when I was flying the Mini the other day, I did not have the latest app on there. I just updated. I haven't flown since. But that's a good addition, right? Anything to give us more information always helps.
I've flown it, and it works nice. And overall, the update seems to be solid. I don't notice anything that works worse with the update. But quick question: have you flown the Air 2? Does that little graphic appear in the Air 2 also? That little countdown of the time remaining on the SD card, is that on the Air 2? Is that just for the Mini?
It should, right? Why wouldn't it, Ron?
Yeah. Well, I don't think I've flown the Air 2 since I've done the Fly Update app. I only did the Fly app update the other day, and I've only flown the Mini since.
Yeah,
and we don't know. I put you in the spot you don't know either. So maybe somebody in the chat can.
Well, I'll tell you, Rob.
Version 1.18 to 1.19.
So he's talking about I think the Android version and the
difference in the two
iOS, and I think iOS is 1.1.
Yes, we're the 8 on the iOS.
Yeah.
But anyhow, it's a minor update, but at least it doesn't break anything, right? With a Hubsan or FEMI, you may get an update, you may get something new, but you may get something else broken. So at least this doesn't. I'm not bad. I'm really not bad on Hubsan.
No, and
I'm making the point that the little Mavic Air is still a relevant drone, and in some ways it's better than those other drones. In some ways it's not either. As far a handle in the wind and so on. So it's all pluses and negatives at about the same price point.
Yeah, well, and so listen, that's a good point, Ron. We want to make clear that we really enjoy Hubsan and we really enjoy FEMI. Those are drones that fill a part of the marketplace. They're half the price of some of the other, like the Mavic Air 2 or whatever. You could argue they have half the capabilities, but I'm just saying that to get a stable camera platform at that price point is really good, and I enjoy flying them. I got really frustrated with the Xeno 2 when I was having those FPV issues.
Day out there.
Yeah. But now that it's good, I'm having fun with it again. So Lauren, I want to make sure Lauren is clear to us here. He's saying that on iOS we should be on 1.1.9. Is that correct, Lauren?
Yeah, I believe that's our. And I probably misquoted maybe when I said 1.18. I never remember these numbers.
I'm looking on my iPhone right now, Ron. If you can fill for a second here, let me.
Okay. While we're settling this out, we're going to jump over to while we're in DJI fanboy mode here for a second. Let's hop over to another big story that happened while we were on holiday here. The DJI Rowan gimbals are set to release about a week ago, and I believe there was 2 different Rowans coming. And they were delayed for reasons we don't know. And, and I know we don't have a lot of people in here buying the full-size Ronin. But the thing is, it looks like it delayed the smart controller update for the Mavic Air 2 because they don't want to release that until the Rowans are squared away. So Marcus has it up here, 1.19. So we confirmed that's what we're at now on iOS.
That's it.
So it's safe to go out and grab it. It flies stable. I've flown a couple batteries on it. It's a good stable update on iOS. So go get it. So Marcus, what do you think of this? Do you think the Rowan gimbal delay actually did push the smart controller update back, or do you think that's just just internet talk?
Well, I suspect that it probably did, because you can imagine that that Ronin, they had it all ready to go, and I'm quite sure that some of the people who got it initially, some of the big photography channels, probably had them to beta test, and they must have found something, and clearly it was a software problem. So you can imagine that they probably got every engineer they have sorting that out, and that naturally is going to delay other things. So yeah, I mean, it sounds right. How do we know, right? We're not at DJI, but it sure sounds reasonable.
Now, Marcus, were you having problems with your Rowan testing model? Or you ordered DNA on that?
Yeah. I'm under DNA, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But it would be a shame that, basically a lot of us in the drone community don't give two hoots about the Rowan, but yet now we can't get our Mavic Air 2 update for the Smart Control. But I mean, from DJI's standpoint, I can see it. The Rowan's actually a product that they're going to make money on, where the updates, just making something they already have better. But I mean, it's not really putting any cash in the register, as they say.
Here's what I'll say about that, Ronan. I am fascinated when I watch people like Billy Kyle talk about it, and the guys that use them successfully. They're real videographers. I mean, I'm a hack. I'm just messing around flying drones. But I do enjoy watching the guys that really know what they're doing talk about that sort of stuff.
You could get that Ronin. You could put the Canon M50 on it, right? And then you could get what, 10 minutes of very stable video before it cuts off on you, right?
That's about it too. Yeah.
You get 10 minutes of the world's most stable video.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to gimbals, Ron, you and I both got the same deal going on. I'm having a lot of fun with this guy.
Mine's not handy here because
I can get it out of the bag here.
Out in the field, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you upgraded from the OM. Well, I'm going to say the OM3 because if I switch back and forth, you switched up from the Model 3, and so it wasn't a giant upgrade for you. Is that correct?
Yeah. No. The biggest upgrade was this clamp that really works well, and that was probably the major thing. It does have stronger motors. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that's good. I use the iPhone 11 Pro Max, so it's the big one. I mean, I'm sure
handling the weight of the Max.
Yeah. Now, Ron, I noticed you had mentioned that you saw this hole right there. You know what that's for, don't you? That is to add weight. If you have a phone where you're adding lenses and stuff on it, you can add a counterweight.
I did not know that, but thanks. That's good to know. I've been meaning to ask somebody because obviously, first thought you think, well, some kind of jack, but then you see the little, the screws in there, so you knew it was the screw something in there. But now, does DJI sell the counterweights, or is that from a third party?
I honestly don't know, Ron. I would think they probably do, but I haven't looked into it.
So
now, the other thing
when you load it down with your microphone and your anamorphic lens and all that, you're going to have to counterbalance it out, huh?
Well, you see some of the things those guys put on their phone. Some of those real photographers, right? Hey, I'm going to also add that. So I had the Osmo Mobile 3, and it is still popular. I threw it up on eBay, and it sold in less than a day. So,
wow.
It's a way you can upgrade your technology and keep it moving,
Now I didn't have the Osmo 3. The last Osmo I had was the 2, and so this is a bigger upgrade for me than it was to you. But to me, the killer feature is that magnetic clamp on thing. I made a video about this. I won't go on here, but some of my other gimbals where I'm putting that in that phone clamp and I'm trying to get it balanced. And you showed on your table that it wasn't that bad, but and I kind of agree with you, but it's not on my desktop table where I have a problem. It's when I'm out in the field. I don't have a nice flat.
Stable platform.
Like I'm trying to do it on a wall or the ground or something uneven. That's when I have trouble getting it set up and balanced. But not anymore with this thing. It doesn't matter if I'm at the beach or whatever. I just get out. I know exactly where to put the phone on that clamp. I clamp it on, and no balance and no muss, no fuss. I'm shooting already. And one of the standout features, I think, of the OM3 is the time lapse feature, but not just time lapse per se. In the application, I guess this is part of maybe tracking 3 or something 3 in. You could set. I set 4 points. Maybe you could set more.
Motion lapse.
Pardon?
Motion lapse.
Motion lapse, but I think it's under time lapse, right? It doesn't. The category when the side you pick is time lapse, but
right.
It comes up. A screen pops up. And you can hit this thing, and you can turn to motion lapse, and it does a great job. I usually put 4 points in because that's what it tells me to put in. Maybe I could put more in. Maybe I could put less in. But I'm just doing just what the program says. And I put the 4 things in, and it just beautifully moves from point to point and makes this like I forget what I'm doing, like 5 seconds and then something else, and I get like a minute's time lapse. And believe me, it's the best automatic time lapse I've seen out of any device I've had.
It's a phenomenal piece. The other thing I want to add about this is, like, for instance, in my case, if I know I'm going to be using the gimbal that day, I'll just put this clamp on my phone and I'll just leave it on there all day long, so that then because it's very small, and then when you need to use the gimbal, it's just one click and you're ready to go.
Your phone will fit easily in your pocket even with the clamp on. Is that correct?
That's kind of the point. The other thing I wanted to ask you, Ron, is within the app, the Mimo app, there is a setup in there where it will tell you where to precisely place this on your phone. So it really is kind of idiot proof if you go through some of those calibrations. And
or if you want to precisely balance or whatever, that's
right.
Very good to know. Yeah, I mean, they've from not just from a hardware standpoint, but from the software side of the Mimo app. I mean, the whole package is almost like having a DJI drone. The hardware and the software are both good, and they're configured so tightly to work together. It really makes it a premium a product, really. And why are we talking about in the middle of a drone show? Why are we going on? Well, this isn't Gimbal Nation, probably everybody's saying, but a lot of us out there in the drone community will use these type of devices to film our drone videos. And why something like this
right.
handy is you could mount this on a tripod, because it has a quarter screw in the bottom. You can mount a full-size tripod, and you can put in tracking mode, and you could walk around in the field flying the drone, demonstrating stuff, and the thing could go back and forth and track you. And why that's better than putting your GoPro up there. Your GoPro has a super wide view, will get everything, but it looks like you're a million miles away from stuff. You could have this be a nice tight shot that follows you around the scene. Agreed, Marcus?
I do agree. Hey, Ron, I'm going to skew our conversation back towards drones here. I see John Coopy's in the chat, and
Gimbal Nation is over.
Gimbal Nation is over. I've got something. This is especially for you, John Coopy.
Ready, folks.
Here it is, the MJX B20 EIS, electronic image stabilization. So haven't flown it yet, but I'm anxious to get this guy in the air.
Very nice looking drone. Good size.
Yeah, Bugs 20.
And I believe that's the first MGX product that has any type of image stabilization in it, correct?
And that's what John Coopy and I were talking about, is that it is. This is not a gimbal, although it's rubber mounted. It has EIS, electronic image stabilization. Now, Ron, you and I both watched Quadcopter 101's review of this drone. He's already reviewed it, and what he said was, when you're in EIS, it slows the drone down very slow so that it doesn't tilt, doesn't move. And I'm sure that is so that that EIS can cope with with changes in vibrations. The other thing that I noticed that I'm sure is related to EIS is it does not have folding props on it, solid props, and I'm sure that they did that to avoid vibration. But anyway, haven't flown it yet. I'm looking forward to getting it up in the air.
Yeah, can't wait to see you get that out in the field and and show us a little video and maybe even do a little comparison between the Femi and the Hobson to see how. I mean, I know it won't be as stable as a 3-axis gimbal, but we'll be anxious to see how the colors and stuff look.
Yeah, it would be interesting. It really does shoot in 4K video. I'm not expecting much, but here's the point of that drone, at least from my perspective. I like to be able to. I'm looking for a product that I can recommend to somebody that wants to spend less than $200 on a GPS camera drone. And we've talked about this 100 times, Ron. There really is. There's just nothing yet in that price range that gives you decent stabilized video, So in my mind, it doesn't have to have a lot of range. It doesn't have to do, a bunch of tricks. It doesn't even have to be the kind of video quality that we're used to with some of our other drones, but it has to be decent and it has to be stable. And then that gives somebody an idea of what you can do with a drone, right? And then if they spend $150 or something and they go, well, this might be a hobby that I want to take up, and then they can move up to that next product. Now, we've also had this conversation. Hey, I can recommend if somebody's a beginner and they think they're going to like flying camera drones, you know what I'd tell them to buy? I'd tell them to buy the Mavic Air 2, Ron, if they've got $800 to do it. But
they won't regret it.
Yeah, they won't regret it at all, because that Mavic Air 2, I guarantee you, a beginner can get that thing up in the air and fly it with no problems.
And they won't outgrow it in 3 or 4 months.
And they won't outgrow it. Exactly right. But I also recognize that there's a lot of people, just for one reason or other, either A, they don't have those funds, or B, they don't want to outlay that much money initially to see if they're interested in a hobby. And that's where I see drones like this come in is, and I haven't really found one yet, Ron, that I can just wholeheartedly recommend. But I'm hoping so. The closest I can come is the original Hubsan Zeno. If you can get that thing around $250, that's a real drone.
And if you don't know what drone to get, if you know the price bucket you're spending at, there's a great video in this channel from a week ago, Marcus, I did, where we cover our favorite drone and kind of in each price bucket, and we go from all the way, start with the Tello, and we go all the way up to talking about what, like at the other end of the opposite scale, like the Scudio 2 and the Autel Evo 1, which are like $9.99.
Yeah. Yep.
Everything in between.
And everything in between. Yeah.
But this is mostly stabilized camera birds. So if we left your favorite non-stabilized drone out, it's because we were only covering really stabilized video.
Stabilized, yeah. So Sam Burns is talking about the Beast Pro here in the chat that has a 3-axis gimbal. So it's the Beast Pro 2, they're calling that. And Sam, I've got one coming, buddy.
Don't tell anybody though, Sam.
Keep that on the down low. Yeah. But
we're under DNA here.
We're under DNA. Hey, here's what I want to say about, even with a 3-axis gimbal on that Beast Pro 2, the camera on that thing was marginal. And because I had the Beast Pro, and it just didn't quite measure up. So
and let's backtrack just a second here. On the Bugs 20 you just showed, do I have the name right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's the only drone in that price category besides the Tello that has electronic image stabilization built in the drone and doesn't rely on your phone to do it. They're the only drones at that price range.
That's exactly right. Yeah, you'll see a lot of those bargain drones that'll advertise EIS, well, they're using the power of your phone, the CPU power on your phone, to do that. And some people may not. All phones are not created equal, right? So
Yeah.
it
Well,
may work.
what to say, if you're buying a budget drone, maybe it's a good theory that maybe you don't have the world's latest and greatest cell phone either. So, and you need a horsepower cell phone to do all that image processing.
Yeah.
So if you're flying a bargain drone with a bargain cell phone, depending on ESI, it's kind of a long shot. Hey, listen, we got our special guest in the back room waiting to pop on here. But let's cover one more quick story before we get him in here. Okay, Marcus, just hold on, special guest. We're going to get you in here in just a minute.
Hey, listen, he's in there having a martini anyway.
Oh yeah, it's a real party room back there, or whatever. Yeah, we got big screen TVs, and he's probably having a shrimp right now, and so on, lobsters and tails. So, but okay, we've I don't did we touch on this at all? There's strong rumors that a Hero 9 will be coming out on 9/16, which is just coincidentally Wednesday, one day after the Apple event. You think that's just lucky, or did you? There's no way they were going to release the Hero 9 the day the Apple came out. But what have you been hearing about this Hero 9, Marcus? Any good information?
Well, all the same stuff that was posted on Drone DJ. I think posted a lot of information about it. So 5K video. Which, does anybody give a darn about 5K video? I know I don't. I'm not sure how that certainly can't be a selling point. But one of the biggest selling points,
unless you have the Evos with a 6 and 8K.
Possibly, potentially, it will have a front-facing display like the Osmo Action, which is a big deal.
From the promotional pictures, it looks much bigger than the front screen on the Osmo Action. But I'm just going by what could even be a untrue picture.
Yeah.
But that was a big selling point for you, right? If it had a nice big front-facing screen.
Yeah, so I've got the Hero 8, and I bought that Hero 8 because GoPro, when they brought it out last October, they showed that it would have what they call a display mod, which was an attachment with a front-facing screen.
How does that display mod work, Marcus?
Well, who knows? Because they still, I know, and that I'm kind of mad about it, because that was a promise that they made and they didn't come through with. And when the Osmo Action came on sale, I bought one. I of course got a great deal on it when DJI had their sale. So, but that front-facing display is really handy when you're vlogging, and so for instance, it's often easier for me to take that out into the field. It's lighter, easier to carry. I need a smaller tripod, and I can take that out into the field when I'm creating a video. That my Canon M50 is just a lot clunkier and not as easy to do. And you can center yourself with that front-facing display. So that gets back to why, as a drone flyer or a drone video maker, you may want that. And so now, if I'm a big fan of GoPro, the quality, in my mind, as much as I like that Osmo Action, I think the Hero 8 is the best action camera out there right now.
The color profile is very vibrant on that.
Yeah. If this Hero 9 answers some of those questions, well, it'll be a good thing. So,
and one of the rumors is this will be 20 megapixel, which I guess will be a help for photos.
Good point, Ron. I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, because that is a big deal.
So we won't go on because when it actually comes out, we'll make a big deal rather than now. But just keep an eye on the on the internet. And the 16th, I don't know if they're going to have any event per se, especially because of the COVID. It'll probably just be an announcement. But if you go to GoPro's website right now, they have a teaser already for something coming. So I mean, it's unless they have a brand new product, it's pretty obvious that this is what it is.
Hey, before we move on, Ron, Ethan Mitchell he's looking for 10-bit color on the GoPro Hero 9. And without you and Ethan, I wouldn't know the significance of that. But I'll let you talk about it, Ron.
Yeah, I think Ethan's going to have to. He's going to have to, get a magic wand out. I doubt whether we're getting, a 1-inch sensor or 10-bit color or whatever. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe. Because I don't think they've, again, we're just talking rumors here. They've increased the size of the battery, so that could maybe lead to something bigger as far as maybe a bigger camera sensor, something inside. But also, they haven't changed. They haven't made the body style any different and bigger. So that would kind of indicate that it's going to have the same size camera sensor and processing stuff in there. So again, I hope I'm wrong. I hope this is the 1-inch sensor 10-bit color version.
One more question, Ron. So what have you heard about the Karma 2 coming from GoPro?
Well, Billy Kyle, funny you should say that. Billy Kyle just posted today on Twitter that he thinks GoPro should give the Karma another try. The first one was a generation 1, and they gave up too soon because they had financial problems at the same time. But I mean, if they can make a drone, again, if the drone wouldn't have to be the best drone ever, but just okay, for what if the Femi or the Hubsan had the you could just take a GoPro Hero and put in a clasp in front of it being a 3-axis gimbal, and you would get that video quality.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think it would be a natural for GoPro, and they'd be just the company to do it. I'd love to see that. I would love to see them back in the consumer drone market. Ethan makes another really good point here, Ron. I think this is really interesting. He says, okay, why are they going with 5 or 6K resolution when 10-bit color is probably more people would be able to actually use that?
Yeah, that is a good question. The only thing I could think of, maybe if they're going to throw any kind of 360 stuff in this or whatever, the more the more resolution, the better for the 360 stuff, because it's taking everything. So the 5K going 360 is nowhere close to 5K, if that makes any sense or whatever. And people like in marketing department, people like bigger numbers. I know nobody wants to hear this, but the guys in the marketing department say, yeah, we need 5K, or we need some big number to advertise out there. So maybe that's why it has it. But Ethan's exactly right. But okay, we're gonna have much more information on this Hero 9 next week if it actually is available. And of course, you say, well, why did I turn and show in the GoPro Nation? Because just like Marcus was saying with filming, a lot of drone pilots and drone reviewers, people with Drone Channel, use the GoPros or the Osmo Action to get their B-roll. So that's why it's important to us people that, these devices. Plus, they're just good little cameras that have overall. But before he has too many martinis that eats too much shrimp in the guest room, we will bring our surprise guest on all the way from the great state of Louisiana, who and one of the reasons he's coming on, he's going to give us the full on-site report of Hurricane Sally, which is making its way to the Gulf Coast. I believe it's in Alabama now. But with no further ado, Johnny Drone Flyer, welcome, sir.
Hey, Marcus. Hey, Ron. Glad to be on tonight. And I just want to say, I don't know, I must be entering the wrong door for this green room, because I don't. I did find this, but I don't see any hors d'oeuvres. But hey, y'all can work on that.
Bill, the drone reviewer must be in the real green room hogging
all.
Okay.
I went in this door and there was nothing there. But anyway, listen, I being serious, Ron has been texting me, and of course Bill had texted me yesterday. And Ron, when we talked, of course it was 24 hours ago, you kind of texted me, and when we were looking at this storm to get where I'm at, if you look at a map, I'm at the intersection of basically I-55 and I-12, Hammond. And it looked like Sally was coming straight up I-55, which, I mean, it would be directly over my house. So, in 24 hours, so much can change with these storms. And listen, when you're hoping or praying, whatever you want to call it, that, don't come to you. Well, you're kind of wishing it on somebody else. And with what's going on with the fires out west and the pandemic and what happened in Lake Charles, I mean, I don't really know how much more we can take, but hey, I think we're being told something, but hey, I don't know what to say about all of that. But, Sally is now, it's done push its way all the way east to basically almost to Mobile, or it's going to be somewhere in there. And it looks pretty bad. It's actually a 2 right now. And I personally own a vacation rental down there in Orange Beach, and I have people from St. Joseph, Missouri, and they decided to stay. So I actually just called her, and they're going to be in for some pretty rough wind. And I know I've been there for just a kind of bad windstorm, and those windows in those condos, they really move around a lot. So I think they're kind of excited about being there, but maybe about tomorrow morning or when that thing comes through, they might not be so excited. But I think they will be safe. The building went through Ivan. It went through Katrina, and it's been through numerous hurricanes. It's about a 22-year-old building, but, it's definitely going to be scary. But, and he probably built a drone with viewers having some bad weather where he's at. So it's really pushed a lot, It's going to be from, it's kind of going to hit Mobile, Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, Pensacola, as you go down line, Navarre, maybe even, Panama, Destin, all up in there. So it's going to be rough.
Now, all those, most buildings and residences have storm shutters. Is that correct?
Our building does not, but some do. And those things, I tell you, I guess they're good, but if you ever heard them rattle, it makes it really sound pretty bad. So, I'm on a 3rd floor, my particular unit, but it would probably be better to have them than not to have them. But most of the newer buildings, because they have some different codes now. Our building, the rooms do start, on the 1st floor, you actually have, rooms where now all the new buildings, I think it's 6 floors up before. Basically, the first 6 stories are parking, and the first story of rooms would be almost a 7th story. So it's kind of like the water can flow through if it does come through.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, Johnny, when does Sally due to make landfall?
Well, what it is, the problem is it's slowed down to almost nothing right now. So It was supposed to be, after midnight tonight and kind of all day tomorrow, but it looks like that's going to be, pushed to all day tomorrow. And then, a while ago, I think it was like at 4 miles an hour. So, and that's where you had the problem with the flooding rain. We just had a band come through, but basically where I'm at, we probably may having a halfway decent day tomorrow, which, 24 hours ago, it was basically coming right through here. So, and they, I think they all do that. It was, Laura that went out west, it was almost on the same track to come right over this area here, but it went west. So, it's been a tough year. And I know everybody, we kind of made, I guess, I don't say nobody made fun of the pandemic, but, maybe around December last year, you started thinking, well, this may not be true. And, that came true. And then the wildfires and now 2 major hurricanes, and I think they have about 4 more out there. So it's a tough year,
Johnny, could you send all the Sally and all that rain out to California to help them with that fires?
Well, I'll tell you, that would be, man, if you could just pick that thing up and move it, we could solve a bunch of. It's just unbelievable what's going on this year, and I mean, I'll be 64 on Wednesday, and I've been through Betsy and Camille. Of course, I was young, but Katrina was pretty bad, and if the levee wouldn't have broken New Orleans, it wouldn't have been as bad. But there's so many people that migrated toward the coast now. There's subdivisions and camps, and there's just so much. People enjoy the water so much, and it's different. But at what point will it be hard to get insurance? Or it's not that you want to feel sorry for insurance companies, but it's going to be tough. I mean, Lake Charles. I was talking to a friend today that works for, one of the power companies, and they have 8, I don't know what's it called, 8 feeder bands or whatever that goes in for power. Since that storm, they've only got 1 working. So they're weeks away from getting power. So it's pretty bad.
Hey, Johnny, I want to ask you another question, and this isn't anything. I'm not trying to bring up climate, whatever, in any way or not, whatever they call it. But do the storms seem to be worse now that you're kind of older than when you were younger, or they really haven't changed? They're the same?
I don't know. Years ago you had Betsy and Camille was terrible, and they've had Ivan a few years ago, went right up Gulf Shores there and tore it up. Katrina really hit Biloxi and Bay St. Louis, and New Orleans got most of the publicity, but they really got more damage as far as houses and destruction. New Orleans had the flood,
right?
But it just seems like it's definitely, it seems like, and like I say, I think every part of the country, when we rest our head tonight on a pillow, the people out west are worrying about the fires, and you got the mid part of the United States with tornadoes, and then so it's just always something. But the storms, it seems like when we get a rain lately, it's in a 3 to 5 inch range. It's really, I don't know how to explain it, but hey, something's going on. But it's definitely different. I can tell you that.
Well, thanks for that report. So for all the drone flyers in your region, how are the winds right now?
It's been actually, today wasn't too bad. Actually, I started to fly a while ago, but then we had a little thunderstorm come through, a little band of that storm. But it's been pretty. Here we've been dry up to this portion here. I flew to FEMA yesterday morning, and I did the mini yesterday afternoon. So, but yeah, it's nice. The next few days are going to be crappy and get this out of here. But they're going to have a rough couple of days in Alabama and the Mississippi Gulf Coast there, and maybe even into Florida.
So the Gulf Coast flyers are going to be a little grounded the next.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, because you can't fly like in Orange Beach. They have their own band. I mean, so when we go down there. But Marcus, I love your videos about the low cost drones. That's just a great. I think people really like that.
Thank you, Johnny. I appreciate that, because you always wonder if that is. But the point of it is that I like to help people get into the hobby, right? Show them that.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. Hey, I mean, you made me spend $500 to $700, so now you can only maybe spend a couple hundred.
Yeah, there you go.
You got to say what you can in these tough days, Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, it's just this peer pressure. That's why I thought I would get a lobster, but I didn't get a lobster tonight. So
you had to stop for the shrimp. Hey, I see Sean Oz in the chat here, and we haven't brought up spin up yet. Well, Marcus did bring up that Michael Rate one, but I hope everybody got a chance to see a little bit of spin up on this Saturday.
It was great.
Kelly Shores for organizing the online version since the pandemic. We couldn't do the in-person one. I know Sean Oz is a big part of the show, and I saw Ken Dono there. Of course, he beat the puppet up at one point, and help me out. Who else?
Who among us hasn't beat up the puppet once in a while? But the
Ken Heron was there.
Ken Heron was there, and yeah.
Johnny, did you get to see any spin up on?
I did. I watched probably the first couple hours and maybe the last hour and a half. So yeah, I watched a good bit. It was very. I thought it was done. The sound, the quality of the picture, and I mean, it was. I don't say better than I thought it would be, but it definitely was.
Well, maybe did it whet your appetite enough that if they have it where you can go next year? Would you?
I would love to go, especially where I'm
at the DroneNation table next year.
Absolutely, yeah, I would love to go. I think it's a great. They just had some great guests, and I think the information was so broad that it suited everybody. Beginners to.
If you agree with the cut, Johnny, I promise to get you in front of the strip line at Sam's boat.
I had to bring I had to bring you to the casino down here. You get all you eat shrimp.
You're coming from aren't you in like the shrimp capital of the world?
We got a lot of shrimp.
Mark, that'd be like coming to Idaho for potatoes.
Louisiana, don't we?
Yeah.
We get down there and see you, Johnny. Get some good shrimp.
Absolutely. We do some crawfish. We do some crab.
Yeah. Oh, we could get fed real good down there, Marcus. We won't lose any weight. We won't lose any weight going down to visit Johnny.
No, this is not. I'm gonna tell you right now up front. If you want to lose weight, don't come to Louisiana.
Have a beignet, right?
No, yeah, do not. I mean, it's just not the. It's not the place. It's not a place to be if you want to lose weight.
Yeah. Hey, so we do have Sean Oz in the chat. Sean did a great job on spin up. Sean, I want you to know, I know that cannot be easy to sit there in front of a big audience like that, and you did awesome.
Yeah, you were. And I want to also remind everybody that Sean's got his spin down coming up soon in a couple of weeks. Sean, can you drop the date in the chat there? So I don't know how much of that'll be virtual, but if there's any way people could view any of it, you could drop that link too. And Michael Wright, how's that new Mavic 2 Pro flying? Michael Wright was so close also, he could probably just dropped over there and picked it up, right?
Yeah, that's probably true. Pick up his Mavic 2 Pro. Really cool that he won that. I just think that's awesome. So I'm reading here, he's talking about donating one of his 2 tickets to Spin Down. So Michael, you're still going, I presume. But apparently you must have bought one that for somebody else and they couldn't make it. But yeah, so that'll be interesting to. So Sean is saying it's the 26th. So there's going to be a ton of videos that come out of that. And I can't wait to see them. That looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it also.
It was an awesome deal. I'll tell you what, it's amazing how they put that together.
Well, Johnny, I'm going to tell you, if they have Spin Up, when I'm sure they will next year, and who knows if it'll be in Texas or where is that? Because I know that they've talked about moving it to a different location, maybe possibly or something. But it's really fun. There's nothing like sharing your hobby with like-minded individuals that like that. It was really a fun event. To attend in person, and anybody here that is a drone enthusiast, if you've got a chance to do that, I just can't recommend it enough.
And nobody would be a more perfect host than Kelly. Just a real gentleman, very gracious, very knowledgeable. Just I just can't tell you. I mean, you see Kelly on YouTube, and he well presented, comes off, but when you meet him, he's every bit of that and more.
He is. Yeah. And just, that whole thing, you meet for dinner. And so then you get to have really informal conversations with people. And then like what they're going to do at Spin Down, almost as much fun as the next day. You kind of have an informal fly-in and you get together with everybody. Ron, I don't know about you, I've never seen so many Mavic 2s in the air at one time ever.
Oh, Johnny, when we went over to this like baseball field where they were flying, I mean, it was like a Mavic 2, Mavic 1 convention.
Yeah,
it was all over the place.
That just seems like a lot of fun right there,
Yeah.
Well, you had to be careful though, because you had to make sure you were looking at your Mavic.
Well, yeah, I can see how that might be a problem. Did somebody say crawdads?
I should have brought another drone.
Somebody said crawdads. It's crawfish, because that would be like saying potato, I guess, Marcus, in Idaho. I don't know. It's potato, right?
Potato. We don't care in Idaho.
Hey, crawfish, crawdad, a little, maybe they're little lobsters. Hey.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they're good. They're good too. I
think Bill Thomas. I don't know if y'all saw his show from the lake, and that was pretty interesting. It was a different kind of show. He had a nice setting background. He did hey, Ron, you might need to do a show from the beach one day.
Yeah, it's all about getting that internet signal or whatever. But no, but Bill had a beautiful, place to stay that on the lake there. That was great. And he had internet. Yeah. I mean, the problem with me is like, I can't rely on, your phone's internet to do anything remotely. You have to be, near enough your house, you get that good signal.
Yeah.
Until we get that new 5G iPhone is coming out tomorrow, Marcus.
Yeah.
We forgot that we don't want to turn this into the Apple show here, because I know we probably got as many Android guys as Apple guys. So this is brief, but Apple's holding their big event tomorrow in Cupertino. I don't know if there would be press there. I don't know if there'll be anybody there. Maybe it'll be all virtual, but I've heard rumors of four new iPhones coming out and a couple of them being 5G. This will be the first iPhones to be 5G compatible, which of course is a much stronger signal for us drone flyers that want to broadcast live. 5G could be our saving grace in the future. Marcus has
any more lenses, bro? Is there going to be any more lenses on the new iPhone?
Well, I haven't heard about HoloLens, but possibly, and I think I've heard about new iPad Air 3. There's going to be new watches, the usual things. So I think it starts like 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and for you people on the western side of the country, whatever that equates to you guys in different time zones. At Apple, I think it's 9 in the morning or something.
It'd be 10 a.m. if it's
10. Yeah, so you get used to some of the products. So I'm on a little MacBook Air now, but before I kind of always fought it, and I'm not getting Apple. But it does. I'm not saying it works better. It just seems to be smoother and less problems. But I got a Mac sitting right over here. I mean,
hey, Ron, can you send Sean Oz a link real quick? He's wanting to come on and talk about.
Yeah, we're going to get Sean in here. Maybe he can tell us all about the spin down, because I'm anxious to hear about some of these workshops that they're going to have there. So you guys stole from me.
You don't need to carry for a while, Johnny. We're gonna have to carry the show for a little while.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So I realized that I was hardcore. I'm not going to say anti-Apple, but I wasn't a big fan of Apple because they're so proprietary, right?
They are.
Till I got my first iPhone. When I was working for Darigold as a company phone, they gave me an iPhone, and it was like an aha moment. I was like, holy cow.
It is easy to use, and when I have an Apple iWatch, and when you get used to the watch, it's like incredible. Yeah, I mean, well, I'm charging mine, but it's like I forgot it one day, and I got all the way to work, almost to work, and I'd turn around and come back home because
go back and get it because you depend on it.
Yeah, it's really it is very convenient, especially if you're in a meeting or I do real estate, so it's kind of like. I mean, I know people look at you, you're looking at the phone, but it's a lot different than picking your phone up. So it's kind of subtle, but you get used to it. So I love it. And, they're coming out with the new one. I have I think the 3. So it's getting a little old actually.
So, okay, we got Sean Oz coming in.
Oh, good. There he is.
Hello, Sean.
There he is.
I guess I got to be vertical. Yeah, I just left Wingstop by the airport down in Denver, and trying to get back home. And I tell you, the weather is so much nicer here than it was in Austin.
A little warm in Austin.
Kim just said about how nice it was and stuff, and I was like, "Are you smoking crack or something?" It was so hot. I guess compared to Florida,
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
You guys hear the Google there? Let me turn my Google off. Hold on a minute. I know where I'm going, so give me a second. Be right back.
Oh,
we need Mike here to say the robot.
Yeah, he's on robotic mode there.
Yeah.
Robotic.
Okay.
So he's
sorry about that. I'm back.
There he is.
There you go.
All right, sorry about that. I had a Google Maps thing going on. I'm not
Sean's gonna get lost because we made him turn on GPS.
I think he's got a bag.
I don't know if you can hear me. You're breaking up so bad.
Folks, this is why we need 5G internet.
Yeah, we might have to try this another time, Sean. It just doesn't seem to be working.
No worries, guys. You have a good one, and hope everybody have a killer show.
Thanks, Sean. We'll
you, Sean.
Well, that was a nice try.
Yeah, that would have been great, but you know how it is driving, commuting, or whatever. Again, that's an advertisement for why everybody needs 5G internet, so you don't have those type of breakups in the car and whatever.
He could have did an Apple commercial right there if he had,
Yeah, and folks, anybody out there that's a diehard Android person, we're just joking around here, whatever.
Hey.
Whatever works best for you. Apple's not better; it's just different.
Listen, I got the drone connection here, though, guys.
Okay.
So Apple how do they relate to drones? Well, for one thing, you can walk into any Apple store. Well, pre-pandemic, that is, you were able to walk into any Apple store and buy a DJI drone. They had them in stock right there. You wanted one, you could just walk in, lay out the cash, and pick one up. And that led to a lot of speculation for a long time that perhaps Apple would acquire DJI. Wouldn't that have been phenomenal if a few years back, had Apple made that acquisition? It seemed to me that like it would have been a good fit for Apple, and then we wouldn't have all this business about
spyware.
Our information, spyware, and everything going to China, because it would have been proprietary Apple products instead. Anyway, just throwing it out there because there was a lot of talk about it just a few short years ago.
And if anybody remembers this, when the Mavic Pro 1 first came out, the only place you could buy for the first week was in the Apple Store.
That's true. I forgot about that. That's very true.
And I got a spying update. I see today that it looks like Oracle is going to buy TikTok.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird deal too. And the weird thing about that is they're not even buying them. It's supposedly a partnership, and you talk about that whole argument about forced technology transfer and stuff. That's probably a little above our pay grade on this show, but but that one's really an odd situation.
So Marcus, I got a question for you. Do you think Apple is in the iOS system, or is having, with not putting the app on not the app, but the thing for the smart controller, you think they're having a conflict with DJI and stuff about,
Well, so one thing that Apple will never do is license iOS like Google does Android. But you make a great point, Johnny, because just think about how functional that smart controller would be if it were iOS.
Mark would be the first one online to buy the iOS version of the smart controller.
Boy, howdy.
Yeah, if you had a Ford truck a while back, I don't think Apple, it wouldn't do your text message. I have a 2013, but my granddaughter has a new car now, and it does that and reads the text. So it's kind of like, I think Ford Sync was having trouble with Apple and stuff like that, and I guess they worked it out. So I
think what happened, like my wife always had Toyotas, and they always had their own proprietary smart system in it. But now they've dumped it, and you just put either Apple CarPlay or Android.
You quit advertising a smart keys, you can start the car,
your own system or whatever. Just either use either version of CarPlay, Apple or Android, and be done with trying to build your own system.
Yeah, well, I have a Harley, and it integrates with the with the microphone and stuff, and I can answer the phone and stuff. For a while there, it didn't, but now it does. So I guess Apple is is kind of hooking up with all the major companies.
They're working and playing well with others.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they'll probably even working and playing better in about 12 hours from now, or whatever. With the new products.
Well,
but
let's see what that does to their stock price.
Pardon?
Let's see what that does to their stock price.
Right.
I'm rooting for them.
Okay. Speaking of prices, just going back for a second here, because we got to wrap up here soon because we have a big announcement coming up. What are we hearing about the GoPro Hero 9 prices? There was early reports that the price was going way up, but I think we've kind of
so what was advertised out there, what people were running into was there was a quote, and it was a Singaporean advertisement, and it said, I think, $680. Well, that was Singapore dollars. It was not US dollars. And then somebody else ran into something where it translated into euros, and then they took that number, and with the exchange rate, they came up with a number of $429 US.
Which Bill Thomas just posted in the chat, right?
Right. But what I'm saying is we're not really going to know until they announce it, because just because the exchange rate says one thing doesn't mean that these companies are notorious for pricing differently in different markets. And I'm not saying it won't be
Yeah.
$429. I'm just saying it's hard to say.
But it easily could be $399, just like last year's Hero. So again, don't get all bent out of shape about the price going up until it actually does.
Absolutely.
And do we know if the new iPhones are going to hold the line on price, or whether they're going to see price bumps there or not?
Oh shoot, Ron, you know Apple.
Well,
Actually, Marcus, they've been coming down a little bit.
Have they?
I don't think the iPhone 11 was any more than the iPhone 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't. I don't know, Ron. Yeah. You know, here's what I'll say about that. It is so it's like so many things now. It's so easy to hide that price in those cell phone contracts. You know, people get so focused on how
we've got rid of a lot of contracts right now.
Yeah.
If you were a stockholder, you know, you might wish that it. I mean, I'm not pointing at nobody, but you know,
let me tell you,
to go up.
Here's my advice with Apple stock: own Apple, don't trade it. Just buy it and hold it.
Hey, it worked for Forrest Gump.
It worked for Forrest Gump. It did.
And if you do want to sell it, Tim Cook's more than glad to buy it back from you.
They've been doing a ton of buybacks.
That shows you how confident he is. He'll take your stock back in a second because he knows it's worth more than you know what you could get for it.
Well, so there's some more news, Ron, with regard to the processors, and this refers to drones. So I don't know if anybody is up on this, but NVIDIA today announced that they're buying ARM, which is another processor. They're a British-based. They're one of the biggest CPU makers for mobile devices in the world. I think they are the biggest.
Yeah,
and they are buying it from a Japanese company called SoftBank. Masa-san, who owns SoftBank, NVIDIA's buying
company in Japan. Yeah,
right. And NVIDIA is boy, what a home run for them. They have gone from being just a graphics chip maker to where they are a preeminent power in building not just graphics chips but CPUs. And I guarantee you, just like that's what powers our Skydio 2 is the NVIDIA Jetson chip. Right. And I guarantee you we're going to see more of their chips in our drones as well.
Good information, Marcus. But we can't talk too much longer because
Hot Rod Daytona just made a good point here. I misspoke there. They don't make them; they license it. So he's absolutely correct. It's a design and they license.
Thanks for that information, Hot Rod. Good information. Yeah. But we got to get off of here real fast because there's a world premiere coming up at 10:15 p.m. East Coast time. You're going to see an exclusive video made for the DroneNation Network by none other than Marcus Crawford of the Idaho Quadcopter Network. This is going to be a world premiere. It's going to be about everybody's favorite little drone, the Mavic Mini, and I guarantee you, it already has some views because people that are part of the DroneNation All-Stars got to see an advanced sneak preview this morning of it, and they can tell you how good it is. So you don't want to miss this. So we're not going to jibber-jabber here because we want to be off this air. So when this goes live at 10:15, you can flip right over from us jabber-jawing here to watch this exclusive video only seen here on this channel, no place else. And we're not going to charge you a dime to see it. You know, this is one of the best values in entertainment. Marcus, do you have anything to say about this video? But don't talk for more than 30 seconds.
Yeah, well, not much other than Ron. Both you and I are going to start adding more exclusive content to DroneNation, and I would like to ask people that tune in here to please subscribe to the DroneNation YouTube channel. We're trying to get it up to 1,000 subs. That opens up a lot of things for live streaming for us if we can get to that 1,000 sub mark. So Ron and I are both going to put a lot more content out there so that it's that it, other than just our live streams, there'll be other things besides that on the Drone Nation channel.
Thank you. Well said, Marcus. I want to thank Johnny so much for coming on tonight and giving us that update on Hurricane Sally. I want to send prayers and thoughts out to everybody in the Gulf Coast region, I guess especially to the people in Alabama who look like they're going to get the worst of it. So thoughts and prayers to those people and to all our people in California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Colorado. Prayers and thoughts for those people with those fires and smoke. Did I miss any of the Western states, Marcus?
I think, yeah. Well, you got Oregon and Washington and
Colorado who had some stuff.
Yeah, Montana's got some fires.
Montana will throw them in.
Let's put it this way: the West is burning. The West is burning down.
And
not an exaggeration.
And the South and the Gulf Coast is about to get drenched. So
right.
It's going to be a tough week, but I hope everybody pulls through it. I want to thank everybody that joined us in the chat tonight. Great comments, great help to all of us out there. You corrected us when we're saying stuff wrong, and for Sean for trying to pop in. But I'm going to try to get him on before spin down so he can give us a complete rundown of what's going on there. And that's about it, folks. I want everybody to have a good week, get some flights in if the weather allows where you are at, and watch for more content coming from this station, as Marcus pointed out. And we will see you next Monday night. And don't forget, Bill the Drone Reviewer tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be the special guest on that show. So tune in. Good night, folks.
Good night. Thanks.
Good night.